All right, I feel great. It's been 7 straight days of eating correctly, no booze over the weekend. 2020 is off to a roaring start, and somehow, someway, even after doing 6 episodes of the Valley of the SunDay Scaries, I've still managed to re-record this one again because I messed it up. So enjoy. I don't know how I keep doing this. All right, like I said, welcome to episode 6, Valley of the SunDay Scaries. It is a re-record, so I'm in the middle of golden hour. The lighting has changed on me, but we're going to power through because we're professionals, and that's what we do. My wife and I are about to make a very healthy pizza. I'm very hungry, but it's National Pizza Day, and I was not going to be denied a pizza. So when I get off of this, I'm hoping to have the pizza done and ready to rock. So let's get through this together. I want to thank my guest from last week, Sean Stemmis, for coming on the show. I'm looking forward to having more guests. I have a couple more lined up throughout the course of the year. If you're out there in the world and you're traveling through beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, you want to get on this thing and talk about your quarter-life crisis, I'm here for you. Love to have you. So the title of this podcast is 531. I am almost done right now with the 5 a.m. Club. I'm trying to cross off my second or third book of the year, and one of the chapters talks about 531, and it is, and I quote, the creed of the willpower warrior. So 531, the creed of the willpower warrior. So with all the things I'm trying to change in my life right now, I'm finding that in some areas my willpower is a little lacking. So if you out there are like me and you do not have the willpower to always persevere, I think you're going to find the next couple minutes very valuable. So you definitely want to listen in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it verbatim because I think it's just easier that way. And I'll do my best to do my teacher reading voice for this one. So 531 breaks down like this. So the 5 scientific truths behind excellent habits, the 3 values of heroic habit makers, and the 1 general theory of self-disciplined Spartans. That is all very aggressive language. Let's dive into it. Number 1, world-class willpower isn't an inborn strength, but a skill developed through relentless practice. Getting up at dawn is perfect self-control training. Number 2, personal discipline is a muscle. The more you stretch it, the stronger it grows. Therefore, the samurais of self-regulation actively create conditions of hardship to build their natural power. Number 3, like other muscles, willpower weakens when tired. Recovery is therefore absolutely necessary for the expression of mastery and to manage decision fatigue. Real thing. Number 4, installing any great habit successfully follows a distinct 4-part pattern of automation of the routine. Follow it explicitly for lasting results. And then number 5, baby. Increasing self-control in one area of your life elevates self-control in all areas of your life. That's why, if you're joining the 5 a.m. Club, the game-changing habit that you're learning will impact everything else in life that you do. So let's carry on. The 3 values of heroic habit makers. Number 1, victory demands consistency and persistency. Number 2, following through on what is started determines the size of personal respect that will be generated. And number 3, the way you practice in private is precisely the way you'll perform once you're in public. And that all leads to the big one, the 1 general theory of self-disciplined Spartans. To regularly do that which is hard but important when it feels most uncomfortable is how warriors are born. Wow. What I really liked about this chapter is that I always thought that people that had strong willpower just naturally had strong willpower, and to learn that that's not necessarily the case, that you're not born with it, it's something that's learned. If you're ever out there and you're like, oh, I wish I could be as motivated as that person or as disciplined as that person, really you can be, and we're going to kind of cover what it takes to do that. I mean, it's just basically it's a skill that you can learn, and everyone can do it, and that's something that I found pretty powerful. After they talk about willpower, they then transition into what they call the habit installation protocol. And what I really liked about this is that anytime you want to make a change in your life, you technically have to rewire your brain. So you're installing a protocol kind of like a computer, and that kind of really clicked with me. A lot of people talk about 21 days to break or form a habit, or 10,000 hours to master something. Those aren't necessarily as well regarded as universal truths anymore. The new data and science and everything, it basically says that you have 66 days from start to finish to truly change and form a habit. And that's kind of what we're going to dive into right now. Once you have the willpower down, it's That's one step, like understanding the willpower, but to truly make a change, you have to apply that willpower, and we're going to talk about it. So the first 22 days are what the author calls destruction. And if you think about it, anytime you try to make any change in your life, the first couple of days of that are very, very hard to do. The analogy that was used is that when a space shuttle goes to orbit the Earth, it uses more fuel in the first 60 seconds after liftoff than it does throughout the entire orbit, essentially because it's so hard to break through Earth's gravity. And essentially it's the same thing for you. Whatever you're trying to break in your life, that's your gravity, and it's gonna take a lot of fuel up front, and it's going to be very, very hard, but you have to push through. The next 22 days is called installation, and the final 22 days is called integration, and essentially that leads you to what's called the automaticity point, which is one big giant word for congrats, you've earned yourself a new habit. So knowing that it only takes, 66 days to truly make a change in your life, I hope that you are as inspired and motivated as I am, because 66 days in your life in the grand scheme of things is so short. I mean, there's so many times in our life we're like, wow, time flies. I thought it was just January, and to know that you're only 66 days away from something, if you truly want to apply yourself, it makes things a little bit easier when you're really trying to take on life. It's also easier to change when you have a plan. So I would sit down, map it out, and just know that you're only 66 days away from mission accomplished. So enough real talk tonight. I'm on Twitter, and there's only one thing trending, and that, of course, is the Oscars. And so this is the first time in a very long time that I've seen a majority of the films, not all of them, but a majority of them. So when I give my takes and my opinions here, I think that I'm coming from a place where I think I know what I'm talking about. We'll see here in a couple hours. First off, I'm looking at Best Picture, and I am giving Best Picture to 1917. It was an incredible movie. I felt like it was shot all through like one scene or one cut. It was just non-stop. It was amazing. Number two, I'm looking at Best Actor. I'm thinking it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix for his performance of the Joker. The Joker was a crazy, sadistic, dark movie, and he did an incredible job. It was one of the best acting performances I've seen in a long time. I'm looking at Best Supporting Actor, going to Brad Pitt for his portrayal of Cliff in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's so convincing that I'm not even sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy when it's all said and done, but I thought he did incredible. And then last but not least, I had to look how to spell it, but I'm going to guess that Best Actress goes to Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. It's the only... All right, we had to call a little bit of an audible here. As you'll notice at the end of that last section, you'll notice that everything cut out, the volume, the mic turned off. That means that this is my technical third attempt at this. So I brought my dog in to save the day, which is a hopeful cuteness factor. Like I was saying, I think that Saoirse Ronan is going to win for Little Women. I've not seen the film, but I've heard great things from the other films that I saw. I just didn't think that anyone else was as deserving as the reviews that I saw for her. As I was saying before, happy National Pizza Day, happy Oscar Day, and happy just knowing that you're only 66 days away from making change in your life. It's in the kitchen, it's with my dog, but hey, welcome to the Valley of the Sun.